So welcome to the Sit Down with Stephen Taylor. Thank you very much for joining us today. Make sure that you are interacting with the show at Stephen Taylor SA on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And it's an honor for me to have a person that I've followed for so many years and a person that I'm proud to call a friend. But also, he's a very famous friend, Hollywood actor, the Fresca guy. No, but you're gonna clap me if I say that.
Yeah, right.
HAKEEM KAE-KAZIM, how are you, my brother?
I'm good.
Thank you for being here.
No, real pleasure. Thank you for having me on, and it's great to see you. And we hang out anyway. So,
we do.
Yeah, it's lovely to see you.
Does that still, like, people when you walk around the street, the Fresca thing?
Yeah, I mean, it was big in South Africa. It was huge.
It was
I was actually shocked, but yeah, and it resonates. And the thing is even 20 years on, people know it, and it still resonates with them. I still get stopped with that, not that in particular anymore, but with that, and so and it's I suppose it's humbling, really, to have that and to have that fact that
I've seen that when I've hung out with you. People do stop me and say, "Oh, there's the Fresca guy," but maybe we should do another advert for something else.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
You've grown up now, so you can do something else.
Exactly. I can move on. Yeah.
So, tell us about, you obviously from Nigeria.
I was born in Nigeria. I'm from a lot of different places. I like to think of myself as a citizen of the world.
I like that.
Because I was born in Nigeria, but I grew up in England. I grew up in South Africa. I grew up in the United States. I grew up, so traveled all over and spent some time in Japan as well. And so, for me, it's like just having a bit of,
learning different cultures.
Yeah, and each of these have made an impression on me. Each of the European, although the Western cultures have made a big impression on me and on who I am. So, I always think of myself more as a citizen of the world than just as one sort of, specific country.
So how did it all start for you? So you were born in Nigeria. What part of Nigeria?
I was born in Lagos. I was born in Lagos. My parents, my dad was from Lagos, and my mum was from a small town called Abeokuta, which is about 2 hours from Lagos. And they went to the United Kingdom as students to study.
Oh wow!
And then I was born, and I was very, very young, so I went to the UK at a very young age. And then they travelled from there to America and spent some time there, and then I travelled from there to South Africa and
is that where your accent comes from, the UK country?
Yeah, the UK accent, yeah.
So
which I've never lost. I've never lost it. Half my life was there and half my life was here. So I've never lost the accent at all,
And then fast forward to obviously getting into acting and stuff like that. From what age did you realize that you get into?
Wanted to really get to it seriously. Yeah. Well, my first ever trial at acting, I remember it really clearly. It was I think I was at 11 or something like that.
You were still in school?
I was still in school. I was in the baby school, and it was the school play, and I had this amazing English teacher, and it's amazing what a good teacher, what impression good teachers can do. Anyway, this English teacher who I will never forget, called Guy Williams, was he would also do the school plays, and he put me in his first school play. And I remember him more during the English lessons. He was doing Julius Caesar. He would do, and he would take all the parts, and he would go jump on the desk, and he would be so animated. And it was as a kid, I remember watching this crazy teacher act all the parts in Julius Caesar. So I was sort of smitten from there. And then I went on to do something called the National Youth Theatre of Great Britain, which is a fantastic sort of summer program for kids interested in the performing arts in any arena of it. And so I went on to do that, and I ended up doing that for every summer for 6 years, and I gradually grew into the company, and ended up playing things like Julius, but ended up playing things like Othello and Henry V, and so it was an amazing sort of journey for me as a young man. And by then I knew that this is what I wanted to do as a career.
But now going from doing stage plays to stuff like that, going to doing TV, doing Hollywood, that's a big jump, right?
Well, no, the journey was...
it's a long time.
Yeah, the journey was, I did that, and then I went to university and up to the Bristol Old Vic Theatre School, and then went to the Royal Shakespeare Company after that, and then went to the National Theatre after that, Royal National Theatre. So, so a lot of my early stuff was doing classical classical sort of stuff. And then after that, I went to America and started to sort of try and make a career in America. But on my way to America, I came to South Africa, and this was in '94, would you believe? And you know, it was an exciting time to be here, and I was here for a wedding, a friend of mine's wedding, and I got sidetracked by this agent, Sybil Sands, who said, "Oh, you must come and when you come into town, you must come and see me," which I did, and then she put me up for this commercial, and I got this commercial, did the commercial, and then left to go back to America. 3 months later, I got a call from the commercial people saying, "We want you to come back to South Africa to do some more of these commercials." I said, "No, I'm now living in America." "No, don't worry, we'll give you a return ticket," all this sort of thing. And I came back and then never sort of left for 10 years. It was here and doing work and just enjoying, because the campaign was huge here, and it opened up a lot of different sort of interesting opportunities.
So did you do any TV or stuff here?
I did a lot of TV here. I did things like Soul City. I did Generations the time, and I had my own show called Mazinho.q. You know, so a whole bunch of really interesting stuff, a lot of variety there.
I didn't know that, jeez.
Yeah.
And then going over to the US, I mean, everyone thinking about getting into acting, getting into TV, into Hollywood, everyone says go to the US, but it's not that simple, right? It's a lot of work.
And I don't know if people shouldn't say go to the US, and certainly less so now than than when I went. Opportunities are much more broad, and there's a lot more different things happening in a lot more different locales. But at the time I went, everything more or less was in Los Angeles.
It was
centralized. It's now a lot more sort of dispersed. But you know, no, I think you build because being in America it's a really tough journey. You know, there are people, everybody, you know, there's a million people like you, that everybody's hustling for the same sort of thing. So it's a much more difficult journey. Sometimes being a big fish in a small pond can be good, because you know, you get the experience, you get the parts, you get the opportunities, you get to learn the craft. So I mean, being in America it's a difficult journey, and it's not one nowadays that you necessarily have to take.
And tell us about one of your first roles that you were in the US.
Well, my first role, which I didn't do it in the US, but it took me to the US. Okay. My first big role was Hotel Rwanda.
Oh, that's right.
And that was a fantastic thing. That was actually shot in South Africa, so I was still here at the time. And that actually gave me the opportunity to go to the United States, to go to America.
Yeah, because that was a popular film.
It was a huge film. It was Oscar nominated. My character people seemed to resonate with the character, which was really nice. And so it gave me opportunities. It made me, I met agents, and I got an agent from there and a manager, and it just got my foot through the door. And then my first big thing, which I really enjoyed in America, was doing Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, yes.
And that was fantastic, because, you know, I was in
Was that straight after Hotel Rwanda?
More or less, yeah. I mean, and it was great to meet I remember going in to see the director, and him sort of saying, "Yeah, well, I'll see you on set." I'm like, "Well, don't I have to read or something?" "No, I'll see you on set." Okay, which is fantastic. And you know, and then we had a great little set. I mean, because it was the scene that I was in was a very closed scene, so you know, I was trailers with Johnny Depp his trailer was there, and Keith Richards, who was in the same scene, was there. Keira Knightley. So it was great. I was able to sort of socialize and chat to all of them, and it was really, you know, it's an amazing time.
Like,
Johnny Depp was, you know, in a sort of weird, you know, it was my first big job, and I mean, it was big.
Nervous.
It was big. It was huge. Everything was huge. Everything's big. You know, so these huge stars.
And Pirates of the Caribbean at that time was big already.
And it was a big franchise, so it was huge. You know, so. Yeah, I mean, it was, but you know, Johnny Depp was lovely. I mean, he was a really lovely man. I remember him coming up to me and saying, "Oh, hi, my name's Johnny. Hi, and welcome to the set." And so, yeah, it was really nice. They were all very sweet, so it was a really nice set. He
takes some interesting characters. Is it like that in real life, so quirky and funny, or is he?
Well, he based his character in that on Keith Richards, who was also there, who was great. It was like, oh, yeah, it was wobbly, and it was exactly like that. So, and he was a lovely man, very down to earth, you know what I mean? So, yeah, that, you know, that's him.
Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah.
And then after that?
I did a thing. I mean, I did other little bits and pieces, but after that, I was lucky enough, actually, I think soon after that, I went to Hawaii to do Lost. I don't know if anybody knows that TV series. So I went off and did Lost, which was great. And then that was lovely because, you know, getting flown to Hawaii, getting flown business class, paying up an amazing hotel. And so, you know, the life started to sort of really kick in. So I loved that. And then I did a thing called 24, which I think some people have seen here.
Was that the movie or the series?
I did both. I did the series.
Oh, okay.
What happened was that the series was on. I was doing the series, and then that year there was a writers' strike. The writers went on strike.
Oh, wow.
And so everything in Hollywood was shut down. So people had to sort of wait around. And then when the strike was over, they decided to do a little precursor to the series, you know, just to jog people, just to get them back into it. So I came back to South Africa. They flew me back to South Africa to do the movie, to do 24, the little movie. Everybody was in it. Yeah, it's the same cast. It was just they just sort of like a precursor to the series, so that, you know, to warm people up again for it. And that was great. That was great for me coming back to South Africa to film and to do stuff here. And that, I think, was the first time I'd come back after I left, which must have probably 2-3 years later.
Sure. So it's an interesting career. And then after 24, there was, what's that other, like a horror?
Then I did a film called, I mean, not directly after that, but there's other little bits and pieces, a lot of procedural TV. I did a film called The Fourth Kind with Mila Jovovich, which is a great little, really scary little film. So if any of you guys out there, you know, it's actually well worth watching, because it's really freaky, isn't it? And you know what was interesting was doing the research for that, because what happened, you know, you realize that a lot of what was in the film, this docu-type film, actually is out there. If you can actually research it, you can see some of the, you can see, you know, in the drawings and so a lot of information is out there about.
You were a doctor. What was your role?
I was a professor of something or other. Yeah,
I was close.
Yeah, very close.
I've seen the movie,
Yeah.
Okay, and then after that, it was, I think, X-Men?
And then after that, yes, and in fact, that's an interesting one.
Oh, Wolverine.
Especially Wolverine. It was Wolverine, and that was an interesting one because it was Gavin Hood.
Yes.
And
that was a huge cast.
It was a huge cast. Hugh Jackman, who was also very sweet. Gavin was great. It was great to work with Gavin.
Hakeem, we're going to take a break quickly, and then we'll come and chat more about that in a moment. We are in conversation with HAKEEM KAE-KAZIM. It is a sit-down with Stephen Taylor. Make sure that you are interacting on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Stephen Taylor SA. We'll be back in a moment. Welcome back to the sit-down with Stephen Taylor. We are in conversation with HAKEEM KAE-KAZIM, the Hollywood actor. Make sure that you are interacting with the show at Stephen Taylor SA on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. HAKEEM, you didn't run away during the break. Thanks for still being here.
Yeah, it's all good. It's lovely.
I know that you're trying to sneak out. Your bodyguards are like, no, take him out. I'm like, no. No, I'm joking, man. Okay, so we were talking about X-Men Wolverine, which was a interesting one.
Yeah, it was interesting because, I mean, I really enjoyed it. And Gavin Hood, who's a local boy from here, cast me in that. And when I was in LA, I remember he phoned me up and he said, you know, you want to come to Canada. I think we shot it in Toronto, I think. Or was it Toronto? I think we shot in Toronto. It might have been Vancouver. I can't remember. It was cold, so I can't remember.
Yes.
But so and it was just great to be on set with him and to watch him do this huge, I think it was his biggest movie in terms of financial sort of stuff that he did. And so it was just great to be on that set and, you know, again, another big movie and just to be part of it.
So what I mean, in the room that you were like the Nigerian.
That's right, yes, I was a Nigerian overlord. Yes. Come on! Yes.
And what, Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman,
That's
Will I
right,
Am?
yeah, Will I Am, yeah,
Gosh,
that's right,
that's
So it was a nice
hectic.
cast, it was a good cast. It was an interesting cast,
And you still weren't starstruck?
No, you know what? It's that everybody does the same thing. You know, it's you know.
But when you meet people in the industry, it just becomes you get to know that they're
fellow
just
artists.
people after all.
They're fellow artists, you know. But everybody's working. They just happen to be lucky enough to have got that break that's got them into that huge limelight. You know, and some of them are amazing artists and actors, you know, in terms of their.
Hugh Jackman, I have a lot of respect for.
Yeah, so do I. He's a wonderful artist. Yeah, and there are many great artists in the business. So yeah.
Who do you look up to in the industry? Who was your role models when you were growing up?
Denzel Washington.
Oh, really?
I think. Yeah. I mean, and I think I mean he's somebody I look up to as an actor. I think he's incredible. I've watched most of his films. And obviously, you know, the big boys, Pacino and De Niro, I love as actors, and Meryl Streep, I love as an actress. But there are many others that are notable that do amazing stuff.
Have you met any of those people?
The ones I've just mentioned? Unfortunately not. Although I did meet Pacino very briefly because somebody was his nanny. A friend of mine was his nanny for a little while, or you know. So, yeah.
So, but often when people think in Hollywood that everyone's just wandering around, that you get to meet and see everybody, it's not like that at all, right? It's
No, I mean, Hollywood's a big place, and
Yes.
people, I mean, you do. It's easier to see. You see a famous, you see people of note, but it's not everybody. It's not every other person, but there's a lot of well-known personalities in and around Hollywood.
And the Emmys,
people
the
say,
Golden Globes.
I haven't got one yet.
Oscars.
I haven't
But
got one
you've
of those
been?
yet. No, well,
really?
I've been to that. I'm waiting to get one. I'll go when I'm off. When I'm nominated. You know what I mean? I've been to the. I've been to. Where did I go last year? It was great because I went to the Oscar party.
Oh wow!
Didn't go to the actual Oscars, which I think is. Unless you're up for something, I think it's probably quite dull to have to sit there.
Yeah.
But I went to the Oscar party, the Oscar sort of viewing party for the big film that won Parasite.
Oh yes, that's right.
And that was incredible.
That was
because
South Korea, isn't it?
that was a South Korean film.
Yeah.
So that was great because the atmosphere was fantastic in the room, and those that had gone to the Oscars, the director, and they came in afterwards and showed off the Oscar.
That's awesome.
There was a lot of good faces there. So it was a really good one to be at, actually, especially since they won. Yeah,
Sure.
So it was even better. Yeah. So I've done a lot of that.
And then, of course, working with Michael Bay in Black Sails.
Yeah, I mean, that was, I didn't work with him.
Well,
he was executive producer on that. So, Grant, that was shot in South Africa, and that's what brought me back for this present run in South Africa. So I've sort of been here since finishing that.
Yes.
I've now commute between Cape Town and LA, more or less. So, but it was great to be in a good show to be shot in South Africa, and some good people around and good local cast. That's where the locals also got their chance to do things. Sean,
Cameron Michael,
I
like him. Good guy.
I hope you should interview him as
Yeah,
well.
I'm going to.
Yeah, so him. He's
We
a good
interviewed
local
Colin
lad.
Moss last week.
Did
so,
you? Great, fantastic. So these are good local boys, all of whom have gone to America to try their luck. So and all of whom are back here now.
Yeah, I know.
So
it's amazing.
It's,
Hectic, But I mean, South Africa has a lot of opportunities when it comes to films being filmed and shot here. Is it a good place to be in terms of casting? And
definitely, I think especially if you're a younger, up and coming actor, without a doubt, this is the place I think one of the places you should definitely be. Because the opportunity, you may get cast in something that if you were in America, you would never get cast in.
Exactly.
So that opportunity, the opportunity is potentially here, especially for these younger actors. And now you've got people like Netflix and Amazon and people like that. Netflix are really interested in doing African content. So there's a lot of stuff, and that is people are looking to. There's a lot more platforms to be on. And this content can go global, so you may shoot something that you think is for your local TV, but local Netflix, but it could, people could watch it and think, wow, this is amazing. Like, for example, The Heist, which is the Spanish TV show. There's another one that I'm watching, it's called Dark, which is a German TV show. And these things, especially The Heist, it went global. They got an international following. So, your chance to break out of your little box is much bigger nowadays.
It is, absolutely. So Dynasty, you've done that. You've played President Mugabe.
I have. This is recent. These haven't come up. Dynasty was great because that was a reboot of the old Dynasty, and I played Cecil Kobe in that, and I may one day go back. Who knows? Yeah.
Oh wow!
But that was fun to do. And then recently I've just done stuff which I hope will be coming out soon. So I played Robert Mugabe, which is going to be really interesting.
You filmed that?
Which was filmed in Zimbabwe.
Oh wow!
Filmed in Zimbabwe.
How was that playing him?
It was great playing him. It was a stressful shoot.
Oh yeah.
Yes, you go from doing something like Wolverine, where they've got money to shoot, to Mugabe, where they've got 10 rand to do a whole production, sort of thing.
Sure.
It's a big difference.
So sometimes you lend your name to productions to help it.
Yeah, and also, again, it's about getting the character. If it was a Hollywood production, I wouldn't necessarily get the chance to play Mugabe.
Yeah.
So, that's also what's important too. So hopefully that will be coming out soon. And, local film called Riding with Sugar with a guy called Sunugunera, who's a local boy, from Zimbabwe, but he lives here, been here for a long time. And then TV series, The Watch. I just finished a TV series, which The Watch will be on, I think, Netflix or Hulu. and then another TV series called Intergalactic, which will come out next year for Sky One. And I shot that in Manchester in the United Kingdom. So, and then a film which I'm not sure when it will come out, called Black Beauty, which is about the horse.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which
A
was
remake version.
of with Kate Winslet, who voices the Black Beauty. So that was good. That was also shot. That was shot here actually last year. Yeah.
Sure. So there's a lot of production shot here.
A lot of production shot here. Yeah, a lot of big production shot here now. So yeah. So it's well worth again, and you see young South African actors or locals, doing really decent parts, because there's a good talent pool here.
No, I mean, if we think of Paul Tusi, Kim Engelbrecht,
there you
there's
go.
a lot of
them.
South Africans that have gone, Sibongile.
Yes, exactly. Who've gone to LA.
What's that, Sibongile Mlambo?
Sibongile Mlambo.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
Lovely lady.
Yeah.
Beautiful lady, doing some amazing things.
Yes, exactly.
So there's a lot of talent, not only in South Africa, on the African continent as well, because obviously she's from Zimbabwe.
Yes, exactly.
You're from Nigeria, there's other people. So it's good that African people are going forward and doing some
shining
good
a light,
things. Yes.
shining a light about their talent, and we're looking forward to the day that we create amazing stories from the continent, and then that have a global reach, because that voice needs to be told. Our stories from this continent needs to be told. The humanity of our people needs to resonate on the world stage.
Well, talking about that, Black Lives Matter. An important topic, an important conversation that should be spoken about, that Black lives do matter. And that some people don't understand the narrative behind that. It's not about Black South Africans, it's not about Black Africans, it's about Black people around the world and what they've been through in the past and the injustices that they've faced and the justice that needs to happen going forward, the brutality, the inequality.
Exactly.
Those things do need to change.
Of course they do. I mean, you look at this present crisis that we're under, the COVID crisis, and you see that, especially in Europe, the majority of people suffering in America are people of brown and Black people who are succumbing to it, and it's mainly because of the way they've lived at their economic circumstances, and especially in America, and not just America, but all over. The system has been set up to make sure that you don't achieve as a person of color. It deliberately stops you. So even if you have that ambition, they'll put up hurdles to prevent you. And that must change. We need a more egalitarian. No one's asking to be given. Black people aren't asking to be given it like here-handed. No, they want an equal level playing field. And me and you go to a race, we want to start on the same distance if it's 100 meters. That's all people are asking for. And I think when that happens, the world will be a better place, because that talent, true talent, will rise to the top, and no matter what color it is, it will be talented, and amazing things will come out of that because you're getting true talent.
Yeah. Now, we can't suppress Black people anymore. I mean, who knows who might be the next Martin Luther King, the next Nelson Mandela, the next Desmond Tutu. They're there.
Yeah, but also not just those people. The next Bill Gates.
Absolutely.
The next Elon Musk.
Yeah,
the next,
exactly.
they are there.
Exactly.
And that's what we're talking about.
That's right.
So but the suppression of people. I mean, you look at Henry Louis Latimer, who was the man who invented the globe. You got people like that. The guy who sort of started the computer system. I can't remember his name now, but you look him up, and he's a person of color. And these people were operating in a time and a place where the oppression was extreme. So you imagine allowing these people with that potential an honest space to operate in. What else could they have achieved?
Yes. It is hectic, but we do obviously condemn the violence and stuff like that. We do that is not called for. Get your message across, protest peacefully, do what you need to do. I support it, you support it, and so does many other people. And I think we all need to come to an understanding of what the end goal is all about.
Yeah,
Some people don't understand that.
The end goal is for society,
that all lives do matter, but
all lives matter, but it's also and it's also for them. But ultimately, you look at it like this. The system has had its knee on the necks of Black people
for a long time.
For a long, long, long time. Yes. And, so it's like now time for that system to get their knees as a metaphor for their, because what happened with George Floyd. But you get your knee off our necks. Yeah. That's all we're asking for. Yeah. Stop knee necking.
I think George Floyd was kind of the tipping point for people, because it's been happening for so many years.
Yeah. I mean, it's not just, I mean, I think the tipping point came because of that and because of this, everybody being locked down and also having time to really, you know, once you're locked down, you've got nothing much to do. You watch what's going on and you take it in. The combination of that plus that woman, I can't remember her name now, in Central Park, who threatened to call the police on this, who said she was being attacked by a black man because he told her to put the leash on her dog, you know, because dogs aren't allowed to run around with leashes. I don't know if anybody's heard this, but dogs aren't allowed to run around with leashes on the, so she then phoned the police saying that she was about to be attacked by a black man in Central Park. Because she knew the power of the fact that, you know, here's a black man, and if a policeman had come, he would have been arrested. And, you know, I mean, he didn't touch her. He just told her to put the leash on the dog. And she pretended that she was being attacked and screamed in the phone. And it's dreadful. You should look it up. It's a dreadful thing. But, you know, that's what people use. They're using that. Well, I can't remember the word for it now, but it's this you know, this privilege.
Yes, it is.
This privilege.
It is.
Against people of color, you know, and you know, we have the same here. You know, in South Africa, things haven't changed in the way that they should have, and you know, we have to be honest about that. And you know, and things need to be addressed. You know, there are still people bearing grudges on both sides, but. You know, the truth is that South Africa is a beautiful country. I mean, I love it. It's beautiful. But it will only come together when when white people decide to join in the idea and black people start to come together and join in the idea of growing South Africa as one. Absolutely. Not saying this is your fault or, yeah, you guys have it now or whatever the dialogue is. Yeah. It's actually one South Africa, and there's one race in this South Africa. It's a human race.
Well, there's only two sides. Be a part of the solution or be a part of the problem.
Exactly.
That's the easiest way to look at it.
Exactly. Be a part of the solution or part of the problem. Yeah. Exactly.
On that note, HAKEEM KAE-KAZIM, thank you, my friend. Where can we find you on social media? I know you wanted to shake my hand there.
Yes, I did. I thought, well, we're in a... you can find me on, you know, at HAKEEM KAE-KAZIM, all one word, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram.
Okay. That is our show for today. I'm Stephen Taylor.
I'm HAKEEM KAE-KAZIM.
And Black lives do matter.
They do. Taking solidarity.